I'm sorry, that was really hard for me, you guys. Like, I wanted so hard just to like scream every time Fetterman spoke because he wasn't saying things. And this is the important point about Fetterman and Biden. Is it my job to translate for you what he's saying? Baleen? He said Baleen? Like, yo, we make fun of Truna Nashabata pressure, beta calf care, next no arrestant, et cetera, et cetera. Yo, he's got, I think, like 15 new words in that.
At least. Yeah. And it's the representative's job to translate your feelings into policy. It's not your job to translate the representative.
I like to make up new words, but this is on another level, even far beyond
it's the machine. It's the party of the machine, and they put people forward because the candidate doesn't matter. It's the machine that's behind them.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. The big money behind it.
Yeah. Gigander says, am I the only one to find the Dr. Oz and medically disabled Fetterman debate ironic? You know, I will say this, because we have a bunch of stuff we can talk about. I want to talk about Kanye for sure. This was Dr. Oz. I think he did a decent job. I was surprised. He actually answered some of these questions. Fetterman didn't seem to understand what was going on. No joke. It's not just that he needs the machine. So you'll notice there were two monitors. One was transcribing and one was delayed transcribing, probably because if he has to like look back and forth if he misses something. But how many times has Oz got to say, like, I'm not going to cut Social Security, and then Fetterman goes, he's going to cut Social Security. It's almost like he couldn't understand what was being said.
When Oz was like, I'm going to digitize portions of our education system and get rid of the administrative staff bloat. And then Fetterman was like, you didn't even answer the question. He's like, I did. I said, I'm going to, and like he repeated the answer. That was just, I don't know if there's enough words to describe or an effective word to describe how painful that was.
They clearly coached Fetterman. He had some canned lines that he put in there. He had practiced saying Roe v. Wade like 4,000 times. So he had, they gave him some coaching and then thought they could let him loose, but it just didn't work.
What's up with him saying words the same way every time? Roe v. Wade. Because I support Roe v. Wade. And I'm for Roe v. Wade. It was almost like, you ever listen to those automatic voice things where it's like, hello, you have reached. And it's because the word was recorded one time and then the program spliced them together. So it like doesn't, that's what it sounded like. That to me was nuts. What we were watching right there is the Republicans winning the Senate.
I got to say, I'm not a huge fan of Dr. I mean, I don't hate him. He got my vote. If I had to vote in that election, man, Oz all the way, dude. He's laser focused compared to the other option.
Yeah. We've been making fun of Dr. Oz. I think he's a bit goofy. But here I just watched two guys. And you guys ever watch that Family Guy episode where they hire an ugly chick to stand next to Meg? Mm-hmm. This is so by comparison, she looks more better. Attractive. Yeah. That's exactly what that was. I thought Dr. Oz was bad. I'm sitting here thinking to myself, Kathy Barnett could be there running circles. And then Dr. Oz, he didn't do bad. He had some good answers. His closing statement, not bad. Yeah. Not bad. His talk about college, I think college is dumb. But talking about, like you said, digitizing elements and getting rid of the bloat from the administrative staff, I'm like, I actually like that. And then Fetterman's just like, you didn't even say anything. And it's like, whoa, dude. Look, normally in politics, Donald Trump, let's say you got Trump and Biden or something, or no, Biden's not a good example because he's very similar. But let's say you've got like, guy A, guy B. One guy might say like, I'm going to lower gas prices by doing a tax holiday. The other guy says, you're not even proposing a real plan to lower prices. That's an argument, right? Because you can argue that a tax holiday is not permanent, and then everyone argues. When Fetterman says you didn't answer it, it just sounds like he's unable to comprehend what's being said next to him. But I want to warn everybody. We're all saying, like I just said, we're watching the Republicans win the Senate. They voted for Biden. They voted for Biden despite turning on a shower of pressure and all that stuff. Actually, he may have said that after the campaign or whatever. But the point is, we all knew Biden was hiding in the basement. We knew he wasn't going to campaign. And maybe that's why. Maybe the Democrats knew that if Biden went out and actually tried to debate more than a few times or campaign, it would be endless commercials of gibberish, garbled nonsense. Right. And that's why they don't have him do it. And he kept calling a lid and hiding.
I was wondering if that was like the technique, if they make people feel bad for him, literally feel so bad for him, like, oh, well, we'll just give it to him. I don't know. I was going to ask you if you think that was even like a thing they would try.
I have no idea. But like I said, I just looked it up. $250 million rather in this race, $250 million. There's 10,000 people polling this, all sorts of consultants, and they've come out with, they think they can win this. They obviously think that they can win this. And after this, I don't know, but they think he's the way to go.
I'm imagining some like campaign PR guy who's like sitting in the office smoking a cigar and he goes, Fetterman. And they're like, what, are you kidding? The dude just had a stroke. He's like, trust me. And then it's like this radical plan where he's like this
That's what I'm saying.
city slicker salesman. He's like, people are going to want to vote for the guy who can't talk straight. You're mad. We're going to lose this. And then they're going to pull out a victory somehow. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, they
to be
did that
honest.
joke. I don't remember what it was, but when George W. Bush was president, I remember seeing some comedy sketch where the joke was he's folksy and an idiot in public, Fetterman, and then behind the scenes he's like Mr. Burns or some like ridiculous intelligent.
Well,
creature.
the gag we've brought up a couple times is that like Joe Biden's on stage. He got lost recently. He's like, where are we going? Where? And then as soon as he walks behind the curtain, he stands up straight and he goes, all right, let's get back to work, ladies and gentlemen.
Let's fucking do this.
Did they believe it? They believed it, sir. Good. If people actually thought I was of sound mind, I'd be going down with Hunter Biden at the same time.
What if there was like a pollster being like, oh, a lot of people are getting strokes nowadays. That's relatable. let's invest in this guy. And again, a $250 million.
faxes.
That's a lot of money that we're talking
Yeah,
about here.
seriously.
And again, if you invest that much, you think you're going to let someone quit halfway? No, that's money down the drain. So I think, this poor guy is being pushed out there. Obviously, when you have a mental injury, when you have a severe brain injury, you need to rest. You need to take it easy. You shouldn't be on a
Seriously.
debate stage with what New York Times is calling the most watched debate of this political season.
Wow.
This is not okay, and it's not good to watch. I felt uncomfortable watching it, and this is truly a disservice, not only to the people of Pennsylvania, but the people of the United States.
I want to believe. I want to believe that come the day after tomorrow, when the polls roll in, the polling is going to flip. Oz is going to take the lead, and with the already bias in the polling system, we're going to be looking at Oz winning. Again, I find Oz a little bit goofy, but hey, better than Fetterman for a lot of reasons. I want to believe it, but come on, guys, they voted for Biden.
Yeah.
Isn't there a strong possibility people watched that and said, don't care?
Well, the thing is, people really didn't like Trump. That's what Biden had, his ace in the hole, and people don't really dislike Oz. They might, have some issues here and there with him, but Trump evoked the ire in humans.
I think
not
people-
and no one come before that I've ever seen.
I think the reason Trump may have endorsed Oz is because people do like him. And his attitude was like, look, Oz is a celebrity. He's a people person. He's a people pleaser. And we're politicos. So we are like Kathy Barnett was the right option. But Trump knows his stuff. He's probably thinking PR wise, you've got a famous TV doctor or Kathy Barnett, who we respect more, but she's very much hyper political.
Take policy out of it. Think of what a normal person who doesn't know anything about politics thinks after seeing this. There's a guy, I respect him. He's polished. He's clearly articulate. He's got a med degree. I've seen him on
before.
TV.
Yeah.
That's him. Okay, he's fine. Then there's another guy. He looks like a bub. I feel a little bad for him. He shouldn't be up there.
No, of course
He shouldn't
not.
be up there.
Do you think they put Fetterman on stage right because of his neck? If they put Fetterman stage left, the camera angle would have shown the massive growth or whatever he's got on his neck.
Yeah, they control and micromanage almost every aspect of this debate. The questions that are specifically asked are a lot of times random. Sometimes they're leaked to the candidate, just like we saw with Donna Brazile and Hillary Clinton. But when it comes to the stage, the breaks, the time, everything is negotiated between the two candidates. So it wouldn't surprise me if Fetterman said, and his campaign said, hey, we want to be on this side of the stage. And, they debate that all the time, and they negotiate for those spots.
Someone super chatted, Sobek mentioned that if Fetterman wins, he's going to step down for health reasons and then give, assuming Shapiro wins the governorship, an appointment.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's what it'll be.
Interesting.
Someone totally uncharismatic, like a very, very dark person
Wow,
who couldn't win.
I'd love to get
Yeah.
up.
Yes.
Some Goldman Sachs
look at
banker.
Harris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some kind of ruthless corporate banker head
Literally
that, of course,
mumia.
is just seething to just suck the blood out of the poor working class blue collar people of Pennsylvania, just like most politicians. But
They're literally going to appoint Mumia.
Mumia?
I don't know who that is.
Never mind. It's a big Philly thing. He shot a cop. Never mind.
Oh.
Oh,
was-
yeah.
I
And
don't
there was a
know-
big controversy with Snapple, and that as well. Yeah, it's a big case.
Mumia Abu Jamal?
Yes.
Political activist. That what they did in New York. What they did in New York. I was just listening, and I do not want to start making fun of John Fetterman having a post-stroke hard time talking, but what they did in New York, even Oz started to mesh his words because he's sitting next to Fetterman like in that state of mind. It's crazy. But that's what they did in New York with Kathy Hochul. They just put her in position of power.
Could
No
you-
one voted
Yeah, and
for her.
she's horrible.
Could you imagine if someone here was unable to speak or understand and we thought we would keep doing the show? I'm sorry, you guys. Like, I've had days where I was losing my voice, so I'm like, can't do the show.
Yeah,
You gotta
the
take your
show
health,
comes
man.
first, and the country comes first. The job comes first.
Right.
But I mean, like, what I'm saying is like your health does. I'm not going to try and do a show talking like this You know,
what I mean is, if someone can't do the show, you got to put the show first and take them out. They can't be part
Right,
of this because they're
exactly.
going to ruin the process. And
yeah,
same with
Fetterman
the
should
government.
not be here. I mean, look, imagine he's standing next to, he's in the Senate, and he's standing next to a McConnell or somebody, and they quickly come up and say, John, you got to understand what we're pushing this bill because it matters the most that we get inflation down right now. So we got to cut spending here. We got to cut spending here. We're going to look at a 2.3% increase. You need to get on board with this. I'm not going to ask you twice. And John goes, what?
He's going to be a terror to work with. I would hate to be a staffer.
Do you think that when they're debating and negotiating in on Senate floor, they're going to be having a big machine so that when someone walks up to him personally and says, I need you to back me on this one, a Democrat even, Democrats need to consider this for themselves. A Democrat's going to walk up and say, John, vote yes, we need to get this bill done. He's going to go, I believe, you know, and then they're like, great. And then it's going to come and he's going to go, no. And they're going to be like, what is it? It's like, well, you supported him, dude. But no, that's why I think he'll step down.
John, press wrong button.
Yeah.
So if he were to win, he would immediately step down. That's something.
I mean, that sounds reasonable. Because there's no way this guy can function in this job. This is insane.
It would drive all of his compatriots insane. All the Democrats would hate the guy. They would loathe looking at him when he walked in because of what a mockery he's making of American of law and order and the political system. Like, it's amazing that the people even have the patience to put him on TV like that.
I know what's going to happen tomorrow because I know it's already happening right now. Across this great nation, there are many a meme smith sitting at their computers, clipping away and producing mashups, songs, auto-tunes. It's just going to be insane tomorrow because when you have this guy, remember when he said recently, he was like, send me to Washington so to push work for work. And you're like, what did he just say? Bro, I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to be mean, but the dude didn't say words. I mean, he said words, but they don't go together. Imagine. We just got an hour of that. An hour.
Philly Inquirer is going to say he did great, though.
They're going to translate for him.
Yeah.
This is what they do for Joe Biden. Joe Biden will be like, inflation has got to, because it's too high, and, we're going to work and make it, down. And then the news report, the paper will say, like, Joe Biden said that inflation was too high and that we need to get it reduced immediately.
With ellipses.
No, they won't even put a quote. They'll be like, Joe Biden expressed outrage over high inflation costs and promised to get the price down. When his quote is bad enough, where he says, like, come on, man, and like the prices, are very high, they'll use ellipses. And it'll be like, Biden said, quote, the prices are too high, ... we got to get them down. But if it's too much gibberish, I'm willing to bet this. Tomorrow, a bunch of the papers, all Democrats supporting, aren't going to quote him directly. They're going to say, in response to a question from Oz, Fetterman expressed X, Y, and Z.
Paraphrase.
Exactly.
I have a counter viewpoint. I think this is, again, just speculation here, is going to win, is going to become one of the biggest politicians out there. And I think there's going to be a Biden-Fetterman 2024 ticket that's going to absolutely take it, because what better opportunity for multinational corporations than to, of course, embed people in candidates that actually don't know what's going on, that could just rubber stamp all of their policies, which happens right now, according to my own personal opinion, with the Biden administration. I think it's clear as day. He's not in charge here. The people who put him in charge, they're the one calling the shots here. They're the ones pushing the Great Reset. They're the ones building back better. They're the ones destroying the American economy and, of course, stopping domestic energy exploration and production, which is deliberately creating an energy crisis right now.
The campaign slogan for Biden-Fetterman 2024 is going to be like, Bertafan, Bergiv, come on. Shaba. And people are going to be like, what?
It's funny, but it's true. I mean, like, a lot of people study how White Houses are structured. And with Trump, I mean, if something had happened to him, everything would have been chaos because everything went up to the top. It was very personal. With Biden, you've got all these little czars. You've got Ron Klein, Gina McCarthy.
Podesta in there as well.
Podesta. If Biden goes away, the machine continues to clack because he doesn't matter. And I think it's the same with Fetterman. He doesn't matter. It's the machine.
I'm sorry. I just need to stress this before we wrap up this, segment. I want you all to realize where we are as a nation. We're at a point where one of the oldest and most prominent political parties has decided to run someone with a severe mental disability, restricting their ability to comprehend words that are said before them. We can make it a little bit more crass. We are at the point where the Democrats are running and have run and won with brain-damaged candidates. I'm not saying that to dig at Fetterman. I'm not using brain damaged as a kind of insult. It is a fact. Joe Biden, I believe, had an aneurysm and he got metal plates put in his brain.
Yep.
He struggles to speak. Fetterman recently, within the past, what was it, 5 months ago?
It was in May.
Had a stroke. I feel bad. I do not wish that on anybody. But you got to know when to bow out. But here we are in America. This is the point where this nation is. A man with a severe mental disability just stood on a debate stage for an hour. And there are prominent media and activists who are acting like this is good and okay and the right person to vote for. They may have well, in my opinion, conceded the race immediately to Oz. And I do not understand what they're hoping to gain out of this.
Oh, geez. I hope people can see reality. I really do. I don't know how distortive. I know drugs can really mess people up perception-wise, and you don't see things that are happening sometimes. Food also, I'm afraid, can do that. But I hope to God people see that debate and see it for what it was.
There was a really funny moment where he just said, "I just believe." When she was like, "How are you going to get costs down?" He said, "I just believe."
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that sums up the Democrat position on a lot of things.
Yeah, and also randomly yelling and screaming doesn't really make you look strong. No.
Thanks for checking out this segment from the Timcast IRL podcast. But if you want to check out the full show live, tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. And if you want more special access content, head over to timcast.com and become a member. Your membership helps sustain this company, keep our journalists employed, makes this show happen, and you will get access to exclusive members-only segments of the Timcast IRL podcast, and there's a massive library to check out. So again, go to timcast.com or tune in Monday through Friday at 8 p.m., and we'll see you all there.